What's up, guys? Daniel here from EvolutionEat. I want to introduce you to my good man, my friend, my colleague Matt, whose transformation is one of the most inspiring stories I've ever been partnered to. So Matt, if you just be so cool as to share a little bit about how we started to work together, and what some of your biggest challenges were that led to us beginning our working relationship.
Yeah, so one of the reasons is that when I first came across your material, the stuff you put out online, I had never seen it spoken about in this way. You know, I'd seen stuff before about getting healthy and, you know, hey, you're supposed to eat healthy and lift weights and do all that stuff. And I thought, you know,
especially to men, it's always about fitness culture and get jacked, and you know, there's something cool about that and enticing, but it doesn't actually get what you're ultimately dealing with, right?
Exactly, and that's really how I felt. And I actually, you know, shockingly enough, as a man, I still have emotions, right? And that was the thing that I realized.
We have hearts.
We do
actually have these things that are called hearts, and they pump blood just like the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, for me, I just felt there was, you know, fine, yes, you know, eat healthy, lift weights, all that stuff. But I felt to myself, after reading your stuff, I realized that I was an emotional eater. And I realized that actually I'd been, you know, brought up that way and raised that way. And it's like, oh, hey, when I accomplish something good, oh, awesome, I'll have, you know, sweets, candy, as they call it here.
So food became a reward for you, like something that you would reward yourself with because it gave you some sort of emotional payoff, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring you on today because I believe that that's true for all of us. To some degree, we are all emotional eaters, and we just don't talk about it that way. So is it no surprise then that we, no matter how successful we are with our diets, none of us can ever be perfect, one, because that's impossible, and because we're emotional beings and we look to things outside of ourselves to make us feel a certain way. And what I think has happened is that we, without being aware of this sort of stuff, we too often look to food for that relief, right? So is that what your experience was like?
100%, you know, and it wasn't just celebratory. It was, you know, when I was feeling stressed, or when I was feeling lonely, or when I was just in pain. Like, you know, it's the classic thing of like when you break up with somebody, you eat a whole bunch of ice cream and all that stuff. Like, and it was,
women don't just do that.
we totally do that. We totally do that. And yeah, so it became, once after honestly, I didn't really realize that was even a thing, like emotional eating or an issue, until I'd read your stuff on it. And I was like, actually, I think I do that. Like, and that was what kind of started the whole journey on, like, let me dive a bit more into this material, let me try and connect with you, let me see what happens there. And actually, I realized, I was like, it made me realize, I was like, I wonder what would happen if I was not an emotional eater, you know? And it was like, this is not about being perfect necessarily, like we were saying, but what would happen if I did not do that? Like, what maybe could I do and create for myself if that wasn't in the way?
Because that's the thing. It's like we become so caught in that paradigm that we don't imagine what life could be like beyond that, right? Yeah. So we just think that that is what's possible for us. That's our way of being, and we get stuck because we don't even know that there's something beyond that. So like, that's first layer. We don't even know that there's something beyond that that's possible. And two, when you finally do start surrounding yourself with a coach or even just material information that would expose you to that, it's like, how do I do it? We always come to the how do I make that true for myself? But you started to ask the question, what would that be like?
Yeah, I started to ask that, and then that really led to us developing a relationship, you know, and me being a client of yours and you coaching me through this. And you know, one of the first realizations I had when we started working together was how confronting this can be in terms of, you know, for example, I would send you the pics of what I'm eating. That's all you said to do. You were like, just do that. Like, just send me the pics of what you're eating.
So that everybody's clear, the number one and the only rule that I have with my clients is to send me a photo of everything that you're eating. It's not so that I can tell you that you're an idiot for eating the ice cream sundae and you're a genius for eating the salad. It's not it's not so that we can weigh or quantify anything. It's purely to develop the habit of building healthy choices. Where dieting gets everything wrong is that we're focused too often on the results that we're looking to create, but not the habits that get there. So all I care about is that we are creating healthy habits, and that means we're focusing on the choices that we are making on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So especially where it's really difficult to make ourselves vulnerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reaching out for support, saying, hey, this is going on right now. This is true. It's about being honest and authentic and open about what's actually going on. How was that for you? Was that uncomfortable?
Yeah, it was. And I'll be honest, it was confronting because I had to, like I said, I committed to send you a picture of everything, and I wanted to do that, and I was ready to do that. But when it came to it, I still did it, of course, but it was like I realized that, oh wow, I'm not actually hungry. Like I'm feeling stressed about work, or actually I'm feeling a bit lonely or so. And I was like, so do I then really want to make a choice that I sort of feel a bit compelled to make, but that's not in alignment with what I actually want? And then not only that, then I have to take a picture of it and tell you and say, hey, I did this thing.
Right.
So it really made me mindful about like, wow, I really do eat emotionally. Like I really do that. And you know, there were times, I remember one specific time actually when I was, you know, I'd just come back from doing physical activity, right? And that was the trigger time for me in terms of like, I've earned it, I deserve it, even though what I'd earned and deserved was eating a whole bunch of crap, right? And logically it doesn't make sense. Emotionally it did for a long time. And that I remember reaching out to you and saying, this is what I'm feeling right now, like this is what I'm going through. I don't, you know, I feel a little bit ashamed, honestly, but you know, I've committed to doing this with you, and you know, you'd proved yourself as a coach by that time already in terms of the value you were giving me. But to reach out to you was just a way to be like, okay, I've externalized it, I've said it. And even just the act of that, as difficult as it was, as uncomfortable and even embarrassing, I was like, oh, okay, like it was just a bit of relief.
Well, because it's like, oh, I can be imperfect, I can be with my biggest fear, which is letting somebody into this sort of moment, and not everything's gonna fall apart, and I'm okay, and there's actually a solution. And what I have found doing this for 5 years now is that the solution is literally in that process of saying, hey, this is what's coming up. Because the second you do that, you make this very intense, emotional, intimate experience of like you with the food. And if this isn't true for food for you, and it's true for like drinking or alcohol or whatever, you make that something outside of you, something that is now shared with somebody else, not this intense emotional thing that you alone are going through. And that is it. It's the process of getting it out there that is so freeing. So we could talk forever, and we'll do more of this interview for all of you to watch. But I'm curious to know, like, what was some of the biggest takeaways or rewards or benefits from having worked together?
So that is a really great question, because not only did I develop healthy eating habits and develop a healthy lifestyle, you know, not just eating, but with the working out, with the exercise, for me, with meditation, for example. Not everybody necessarily has to do that, but that's just a healthy lifestyle. And honestly, obviously all that's amazing and all that's great, and that's but it was kind of like when I was not like always thinking about like food when I was feeling emotional, like when I wasn't using that as a reward, I honestly realized what I was doing is I was using that to suppress and block myself. And so honestly, the biggest and most surprising, and I remember saying this to you because I honestly couldn't believe it, was that I felt more me. Like I would interact in the world differently. I would be so much more confident and lighter, and like that would show itself up in every single area, whether it was just in my personal life, whether it was meeting romantic partners, to be honest, whether it was even for me, it's created this this whole career and life for myself, where because of the work we did, is because I fell in love with it. I totally fell in love with it, and I wanted to be a part of it somehow, because it had literally changed my life, because it allowed me, the real me, to come through
and to show up for yourself every day powerfully and intentionally, right? And that's the power of the work that we do. It's not just about creating results in your life. It's great to create results. It's great to lose weight and to feel good and to look on the outside the way that you have for so many years desired to, and the way that you know yourself capable of. That's amazing. And it's about the process of every day, the habit of every day, cultivating the mindset of every day, showing up for yourself powerfully and saying, I'm the sort of person who does this for myself. Look at what I'm doing for myself. The confidence that you gain by following through with that every single day, day after day after day, it creates this wellspring of internal satisfaction, deep motivation, and that ongoing pursuit of like, I want more of this. What's possible? If I can feel this good, well then what would happen if I keep going? It's why somebody like LeBron James, who's the best that there is, keeps practicing, because he knows that there's more and more and more. And so the work that we're doing is practicing being like the best version of yourself. And you being here in Santa Monica from St. Albans, Great Britain, is proof of that. So I just want to say much love, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
You got it.
If you guys see something for yourself in Matt's story, leave us a comment in the replies. Sign up for a free coaching call. You'll speak to either Matt or myself, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Mwah!